This episode is brought to you by TaxAct. Don't do your taxes alone. Join TaxAct's National Admin Night. Admin nights are social gatherings for getting through your to-do list. So get ready for a night of fun, finding deductions, and filing taxes with TaxAct, where you can file your federal and state return for just $49 through April 8. Let's get together and get them over with. Visit taxact.com/admin-night for details.
This episode is brought to you by Fandango. People say fans are too distracted these days, but the truth is, when a great movie hits the screen, you show up, you stay glued, invested, part of the story. And without fans like you, there'd be no cinema magic, no shared moments. So head to Fandango.com to get tickets, stream, or rent or buy top movies and series. Fandango loves fans.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Spin Shuffle Skip on the There Can Only Be One podcast channel. Now we've covered some artists in the past and had to skip a few albums. Why? Because rules be rules, and sometimes it bites us in the ass. So back in the day when we covered the discography of the one and only Knights in Satan's Service, Kiss. One of the albums that we couldn't talk about at the time was the Kiss My Ass classic Kiss Regrooved tribute album. Why? It was Kiss songs, but it wasn't Kiss on the album. Well, now we get to remedy that situation with the one and only Lau Robichaud, guesting on the show. Lau, welcome back. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm always happy when I get to talk anything Kiss adjacent or Kiss related. And go back and watch our episode on Kiss on There Can Only Be One and pack a lunch, because that discography was thick. That was an in-depth documentary we did, and I would say it's pretty fantastic.
Oh yeah, not the longest show we've done on this channel, but one of the longest, and deservedly so, because there's a ton of music to talk about with Kiss. But here now we get other artists putting their spin on Kiss classics. Well, classics asterisks in some cases. So this album comes out, and you have a mishmash of various Kiss songs from across their discography. What was your initial thought on this album?
What a strange and eclectic group of people they brought together for this. When I saw the track list for this, which I had never seen before, I'd never listened to this album prior to this, even though I am a massive Kiss fan. I was just like, what is Garth Brooks doing on here? Like, I was very confused. I would say it's more hits than misses, though.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's a divisive album, because you are going to get some songs where it's like, yes, absolutely, they understood the assignment. You get somewhere like, okay, you were having fun with it. And others, it's like, I'm sorry, do you even Kiss?
Yeah. Did you hear the first one? Yes.
Yeah. Let's get some background on this album here. Released June 21st, 1994. So put your Kiss hat back on there. So this is shortly after the Revenge album came out. Hit number 19 on the Billboard 200. There were a couple singles off of this one. Deuce by Lenny Kravitz hit number 11 on the mainstream rock charts. And Hard Luck Woman by Garth Brooks hit number 26 on the top 40 mainstream charts. Yeah, Garth Brooks on a Kiss album. And that's not the weirdest thing we're going to be talking about with this disc. But, Lau, I want to kick us off with your spin pick.
Here's exactly how it's written in my notes. Deuce by Lenny Kravitz. Holy was that ever good? I went into this after I saw the list of who was on this, I kind of went into this one with not a lot of expectations, because I was like, this is going to be such a mixed bag. I'm either going to love this or hate this. Right out of the gate, this is the first song on the album. And what a tone setter. I think this is masterfully done. As somebody who's a huge fan of the art of the cover, this is one of the unbeatable circumstances of it that somehow I'd never heard of until now. What a cover. Lenny Kravitz, you don't think of him when you think of things like Kiss, but this solidifies it to me. So good.
Yeah, when you take a look at the list of songs that's on here, you have some of the most popular Kiss songs of all time. Deuce is right up there with one of the all-time classics, one of the most recognizable Kiss songs. Obviously, Detroit Rock City is going to be up there. Rock and Roll All Night's going to be up there. Deuce is up there as well as one of those all-time classics. So it takes a lot of gumption to say, yeah, I'm going to claim that song and do it. Lenny Kravitz doesn't disappoint at all.
Not in the least. A lot of the bands on this album did something which is really good to see on a cover album. They made the songs their own.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of tweaks here. There's a lot of tempo changes. There's a lot of, we're going to do this a little faster. We're going to do this a little slower. This has a groove to it. This is so strangely like melodic and well put together. It was just really good. Really, really good. I could not. It's weird to cop out and put the first song as my spin, but you can't not in this instant.
Okay, but I didn't.
What did you pick?
So you know me, and you know there's certain artists that I'm a major fan of. And one of them is actually on this album, but I didn't pick that song. I went the complete and utter opposite end of the spectrum for my pick. How is Garth Brooks doing Hard Luck Woman the best song on this album?
It was so good. And I was like, I wonder if he'll pick it, because I almost did. It does, like I said, it's a strange album just because things happen that you do not expect. And he does so well on Hard Luck Woman. And Garth Brooks is incredible. But when you think of Kiss, you're definitely not thinking of arena country. That's not what comes to your mind, the Shania Twain 90s era country.
But I think when you think about the shows that Garth Brooks was putting together in that era, maybe there was no better country person to take this. And let's be honest, Hard Luck Woman kind of lived and breathed in that country realm to begin with.
It is true. It is true. And Garth Brooks, when he was hot, he was putting on Kiss-esque arena shows. There was pyrotechnics. There was massive walkways that went out into the middle of the crowd. He's flying around on wires. Like he was pulling out all the stops, much like Kiss do in their live show.
Yeah. I mean, like, this might be the second best version of this song. The first, of course, being the MTV Unplugged version. But I mean, like,
yeah.
I hold the Kiss MTV Unplugged in such high regard that I put that on the Mount Rushmore of MTV Unplugged albums.
Yeah. And it makes sense because I think that's one of Kiss's better outings is the MTV Unplugged. We talked about it a lot in the Kiss episode.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we also talked about it on the Alice in Chains episode that we did where, yeah, that to me is the best MTV Unplugged album. Second is Kiss. For my shuffle, I'm going with one that may be the second best cover by this band. Because when you go back and you listen to their cover of Mrs. Robinson, the Lemonheads know how to put together a cover song. Their cover of Plaster Caster, a bit of a deeper cut.
Very much so, but a great song.
But the key thing here is this, and we talked about this when we did the Kiss episode. You had Gene songs and you had Paul songs. You know, this is a Gene song.
1000%.
But when you get to the chorus, it's a both song. And I think the Lemonheads really nailed that here. Like, you get the Gene vibe absolutely during the verses, but then you get that Paul sound shining in the harmonies during the chorus. Like, you listen to their cover of Mrs. Robinson, and they took that song and made it better. They own Mrs. Robinson is now a Lemonhead song. I don't care what you say. Simon and Garfunkel, who? It's the Lemonheads. I don't think they take Plaster Caster for their own because it is very, very true to the original.
Yes.
And you get the vibes that both Gene and Paul put on there and doesn't take away from it. It's very much okay, you guys like Kiss, you get it.
Yeah. And you can see the fans come through. You can see which bands were fans of the original material and which ones were like, all right, we're scrapping it and doing our own thing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, over to you for your shuffle pick.
I actually picked a song that strayed a little bit far from the original. And it was by a band that I was not familiar with before this episode. It's Strutter by Extreme is my shuffle pick.
You're not familiar with Extreme? Oh, we're going to have to talk. Good sir.
We're going to have to talk. This is a learning experience for me every time I come on with you, Jason. but they slowed this down a bit.
Mm.
And they added almost like a funk to it, I want to say. It was really, really good. There was so much of this album where I was listening with like my head cocked sideways like a dog looking at a high-pitched noise. I was just, what are they doing and why do I love it? And this was a really good example of that.
Okay. Let me take you back a couple of years previous to this album coming out. The Freddie Mercury tribute concert. So before the big Queen show with all the different singers, a couple of the bands that were appearing on the bill came out and did some, little opener sets, right? Metallica came out and they did a couple songs, right? Spinal Tap came out and they did a couple songs. Of their songs, Extreme comes out and they play an 11-minute Queen medley. Very much in the vibe that Queen did when they were at Live Aid. And we all know the Queen's performance at Live Aid is the single best performance of Live Aid, period. Extreme comes out at a Freddie Mercury tribute concert and puts together an 11-minute Queen medley with the fantastic vocal prowess of Gary Cherone, the other Van Halen singer.
The other.
And the one and only Nuno Betancourt on guitar. The guy who plays backup to Rihanna.
Dang, that's some talent.
Extreme are one of those under the radar, which surprises me. Like, yeah, everyone knows more than words. Okay, yeah. But listen to the full Extreme discography.
Going into this, I only knew them from More Than Words. That's it.
Yeah. There is rock. There is funk. There is every single thing under the sun in the Extreme toolbox. And to cover a band that really Kiss did a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
You've got country influences with Hard Luck Woman. You got disco influences with I Was Made for Loving You. You have whatever the hell music from The Elder was. You have...
Yeah.
I'm still recovering from that album, dude. Seriously.
That was just strange.
But I like it when a band comes in and tweaks things a little bit. I was wondering if you were going to go with the slowed down version of Rock and Roll All Night by Toad the Wet Sprocket, which was also in the running for my shuffle pick. But Extreme comes in. You're never going to get a bad performance out of Extreme. They are fantastic. They're on my bucket list of bands I need to see live.
I'm going to have to do my homework and I'm going to have to listen to some of them after hearing this. And this cover was so spot on for like taking something that was extremely popular when it originally came out and definitely tweaking some of the knobs on it before sending it back out into the world as kind of your own creation. I really liked it.
All right, I'm gonna call it out right now. You and me and an Extreme, there could only be one episode.
I'm in.
Done.
I'm always in.
All right. So now that we've got the goods out, it's time to talk about our skip picks.
Yeah. It's Shandy's addiction. It's Dr. Love.
Mm-hmm.
What happened here? Was there a bump in the road? Did they need 4 more minutes on the disc? So they just called whoever they had in the Rolodex, bring him in, do a quick cover and send him out the door. This does exactly what Extreme did in the exact opposite direction. It takes it, it tweaks it, it messes with the time, and not in a good way. Not in a good way.
Now, you said the name Shandy's Addiction. And of course, Kiss fans know all about Shandy because Tonight's was left it forever. But Shandy's Addiction is one of those little supergroup kind of made up. And listeners of the show will know that we did that recently when we talked about Ryan James Dio, This Is Your Life. They would take a bunch of musicians and throw them together. So who is Shandy's Addiction? It is Maynard James Keenan from Tool on vocals, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine on guitar, also Brad Wilk of Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave on drums, and Billy Gold of Faith No More on bass. You have stupid talent in this group.
And you make a stupid cover with it.
Yeah, it's my skip pick as well. Like,
perfect. I'm glad we're on the same page with this one.
And I flip-flopped. I mean, this is not a good cover at all. It's not.
No.
Right? All apologies to the artists on this album. You crashed the car. You know the car crash at the beginning of Detroit Rock City? This is the car that you crashed.
1000%.
I was flip-flopping though. And the only reason I was flip-flopping is because one of my favorite Kiss songs of all time, we've talked about this, is Going Blind. I don't know what Dinosaur Jr. did to that cover.
That's down there as well. That was tied for my skip pick. And it's funny you mentioned one of my other ones that was on my short list for the skip pick. It was the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones for Detroit Rock City. Wasn't a fan.
Yeah. I mean, I still didn't mind that one, but yeah. It's Calling Dr. Love. Such a good song.
One of the biggest, it's one of the biggest, most recognizable Kiss songs. Right from that first chord, the darn, like it is so hard to mess up, especially when you have the caliber. I did not know that's who made up Shandy's Addiction. I was who the hell are these people? And it's a dumbfounding to me that you had so much talent behind the microphone and this is what came out.
Yeah, it was thanks, but no thanks. All right. Lau, remind our listeners what your spin, shuffle, and skip picks are from Kiss My Ass Classic Kiss Regrooved.
My spin was Deuce by Lenny Kravitz, maybe one of my favorite covers now. My shuffle was Strutter by Extreme, who I'm apparently about to become very familiar with. And my skip was Dr. Love by Shandy's Addiction.
All right. My spin is Hard Luck Woman by Garth Brooks. Who would have thought that I guessed that one? Shuffle was Plaster Caster by the Lemonheads. And my skip is also Calling Dr. Love by Shandy's Addiction. Lyle, thank you so much for this. Now, please remind our listeners what you're up to and where they can find you out there on the interwebs.
I am a producer at Anthem Sports and Entertainment, and my specialty is professional wrestling. So if you like TNA Impact, watch every Thursday night on AMC.
All right. And to you, our dear listeners, until next time, you know the drill. If there's an album that you want us to cover on Spin, Shuffle, Skip, or an artist discography that you want us to cover on any of our other music shows, hit us up on social media at OnlyOneCast or go to our website, notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, drop us a line. If you have an idea that you want us to cover on one of our shows, let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys because we make the show for you. Until next time, he's Lyle, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Spin, Shuffle, Skip on the There Could Only Be One podcast channel and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.